If you're serious about history, survival, and the lessons of the past, then this guide is for you. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because honestly, what you're about to learn could change the way you think about your food security. Today we're diving into forgotten victory garden strategies for today's uncertain food future, pulling insights straight from the gardens that actually sustained nations in war while revealing techniques most modern preppers, well, tend to overlook. These aren't theoretical ideas. These are actionable, proven strategies that can be applied in your own backyard, community garden, or even, a small balcony plot. During World War II, victory gardens were more than just a morale booster. They were a national lifeline. Families across the United States and Britain transformed lawns, vacant lots, and any available patch of earth into miniature farms. But the most effective victory garden strategies weren't just about planting rows of vegetables. They were about planning, preserving, and maximizing yield under severe constraints. These lessons are, honestly, remarkably relevant today, especially as global supply chains wobble and food prices fluctuate unpredictably. The first thing modern gardeners often overlook is the power of companion planting. Victory gardeners didn't just plant crops randomly. They paired plants to improve soil, deter pests, and boost productivity. Classic examples include planting beans near corn. Beans fix nitrogen in the soil, which benefits the nutrient-hungry corn, while the corn provides a natural trellis for the beans to climb. Marigolds were frequently used to repel insects naturally. Today, you can replicate this strategy in any urban or suburban setting by mapping your garden to include at least 2 mutually beneficial plant pairings per plot. For a balcony garden, consider tomatoes with basil or radishes with lettuce to reduce pests and improve growth without chemicals. This approach, honestly, turns your garden into a self-sustaining ecosystem rather than a series of isolated plants. Another critical, often forgotten practice is succession planting, a cornerstone of wartime gardens. Instead of planting an entire crop at once, gardeners staggered planting so that new vegetables would mature as others were harvested. This meant a continuous supply of fresh produce throughout the growing season, which was essential when rationing limited access to store-bought goods. For instance, after harvesting early radishes or lettuce, seeds for spinach or kale could be sown immediately in the same bed. Today, succession planting is just as valuable. By planning a timeline for each crop and rotating them in the same plot, you can maintain a steady stream of fresh produce, reduce the risk of total crop failure, and make the most of limited space. Preservation techniques are, honestly, another area where modern gardeners often fall short. Back in the 1940s, victory gardeners were absolute masters of canning, pickling, and root storage. They didn't just plant, they made sure their harvests would last right through the winter months when gardens lay dormant. Even today, this skill is still vital. If you happen to grow a surplus of tomatoes, for example, it's well worth learning the art of water bath canning or making tomato paste for long-term storage. Carrots, beets, and potatoes can be stored in cool, dark spaces in sand or sawdust, which extends their shelf life for months. By combining high-yield planting with preservation, you're not just growing food, you're actually creating a buffer against supply disruptions and price spikes. Soil management was, without a doubt, another area where victory gardeners really excelled. They understood the value of composting kitchen scraps, returning nutrients to the soil, and rotating crops to prevent depletion. Today, even gardeners with only a small space can apply these principles. Set up a compost bin or a worm farm for your organic waste. Rotate heavy feeding plants like tomatoes and peppers with nitrogen-fixing crops such as beans. The payoff is a more resilient garden that produces better-tasting, nutrient-rich vegetables, all without relying on chemical fertilizers. Finally, planning for diversity in crops is something that, honestly, just can't be overstated. During wartime, gardeners didn't just grow one vegetable. They cultivated a mix of leafy greens, root crops, legumes and fruits to meet all their nutritional needs. Modern preppers often focus on high-yield staples, but really, variety ensures balanced nutrition and increases resilience against pests or diseases that may target a single crop. Even a small backyard can host a mix of carrots, kale, onions, strawberries and beans. The key is to stagger your planting and harvest so you always have multiple crops maturing at different times, giving you both abundance and security. Applying these lessons today doesn't require acres of land. A single raised bed, a few containers on a balcony, or even a community plot can benefit from companion planting, succession planting, preservation, and soil rotation. Treat your garden as a microcosm of a wartime victory garden. Plan carefully, plant strategically, preserve diligently, and diversify relentlessly. You'll not only honor history, but also build a practical hedge against an uncertain food future. If you found these strategies valuable, please don't let this knowledge sit idle. Subscribe to the Legacy of Survival channel to keep exploring these forgotten techniques. Share this guide with fellow history buffs and survival enthusiasts, and take your own garden from ordinary to historically resilient. Your future self and your pantry will thank you.